Morning spreads across the Bay of Naples, turning the sea into hammered silver and the plaster walls of Pompeii into soft gold. Fishing boats move in the distance, carts rattle over stone streets, bakers are already awake, are feeding ovens with dry wood, while the smell of bread drifts through alleys lined with shops, shrines, and painted houses. In the courtyards of wealthy villas, fountains stir quietly among roses and bronze statues.
Here
In
is the
taverns,
finest for learning,
wine is poured
fresh
before
from the
noon.
amphora.
In workshops, hammers strike metal, cloth is measured, amphorae are sealed, and deals are spoken in the quick rhythms of Roman commerce. Pompeii, in 79 AD,
The route by
is not
sea
an
is secure.
isolated town at
These
the edge
finest
of
olives will reach
civilization.
Rome within the
It is
week.
part of the
The seal's
Roman
looking
world
taut,
at its
but the price
height,
seems high.
The terms are
woven into
clearly
the
written
empire
here.
by
5
trade,
denarii per
law,
sack, as agreed.
ambition,
We understand the
and
price.
taste.
But when can we
Goods
expect the
arrive
next
here from
shipment of
across the
spices?
Mediterranean:
This garum is the
Spanish
finest
garum,
from Hispania.
Egyptian grain,
Highly recommended
Eastern
with those
spices,
spices.
fine
A
glass,
true taste of the sea,
oil,
my
and
friend.
wine all move through the ports and roads of Campania. Latin is heard in the Forum, but so are older echoes, Oscan roots beneath Roman rule,
We stand
traces of
today at the
Greek influence,
precipice of a
layers
new
of
era.
identity buried
By the
long
will
before
of
the ash
Capitoline
ever falls.
Jove.
Pompeii is Roman, yes, but it is also local, proud, competitive, and deeply alive. Above it all rises Vesuvius. To the people below, the mountain is not yet the symbol it will become. It stands in the background of daily
Figs
life,
look ripe
green in
today.
places,
Indeed, master.
broad and
Shall I acquire
seemingly
some?
calm.
Finest fruit from the slopes of
Vineyards
Vesuvius.
stretch along its slopes. Farmhouses sit in fertile volcanic soil. The land around Pompeii is rich because of the mountain, not despite it. Few in the city understand that the same earth feeding their vines and orchards is charged with a violence beyond memory. And yet there have been warnings. 17 years earlier, in 62 AD, a major earthquake struck the region. Temples cracked, walls collapsed, public buildings were damaged. Some houses were rebuilt with fresh decoration and stronger masonry, while others still showed signs of repair years later. The city of 79 AD is not a frozen perfection. It is a place in motion, unfinished in
Ensure the
corners,
scaffolding is secure
recovering
by
in
nightfall.
public and
And the column
private.
base?
Roman
Have them
writers
smooth the
mention the
edges before the
quake,
patron
but
arrives. I've
people
made a note.
remain.
Olives
Trade
from southern
continues,
Gaul. Best
wealth
price of the day.
returns,
How much for
life
this large
insists on
loaf?
itself.
One sestertius,
That is
madam.
one of
A
the most
fair
haunting
price.
truths about Pompeii. When the end comes, it comes not to a dead city, but to a functioning one. The streets are alive
This
with
contract
rank and
clearly states the
contrast.
boundary runs along the southern
Senators
road,
and
not
local
to the south.
magistrates move in
Previous owners
polished
told me the
sandals
deeds
and
included the
carefully
entire plaza
arranged
frontage.
togas.
Look at that.
Freedmen,
Carved and
once
painted
enslaved,
already.
build
Your eyes are
fortunes
quick.
and
A
advertise
wealthy
them
builder
loudly in
indeed.
stone inscriptions and painted
No, the
notices.
serif on the E must be
Enslaved people
sharper. Fix
carry
it now.
water,
Yes,
clean
Dominus. Right
courtyards,
away.
cook meals, tend shops, and sleep in cramped rooms
You are
at the
moving too
edges of
slowly.
elegant
Bring the
homes.
jugs over there
Prostitutes
carefully.
work near
If you break
taverns
them,
and
there will be
side streets.
consequences.
Children run errands through the traffic. Election slogans are painted across walls, urging support for one local candidate or another. Evidence that politics here is not abstract but immediate, noisy, and public. In the Forum, Pompeii
Out of the
presents
way,
its
old
official
man.
face.
We have bread.
Columns frame open space where commerce, religion,
Watch where you're
and
going, you
authority meet.
rascals.
Here
Gaium
stand the
gabum
temples,
rufum
the
secundum.
basilica, the
Obodos
market buildings,
fetiatis.
the symbols of
Colonia
Roman
digna.
order. Priests conduct rituals.
Citizens, look to the
Merchants
future.
argue
With your
prices.
support, we will build a greater
Officials
Pompeii.
speak with the
Vote for
confidence of
justice.
empire.
Vote for prosperity.
But the city's
We
real
must secure
pulse
the
is
future of
spread
this
beyond
great
the
city.
monumental
With your
centre.
support, we will build
It
a
is in the
stronger
Fulleries,
Pompeii.
where
The
cloth
glory
is
of Rome
washed and
begins here.
processed,
The
in the
great shipments will leave
Thermopolia,
again.
where
We
ordinary
cannot
people
rely on
buy
the
hot
shipments from
food,
Asia.
in the
We
bath
must raise
complexes,
taxes for more
where
ships.
gossip,
The people will not
status,
stand for it, mistress.
hygiene,
This
and
seal is
politics
clearly
all
forged.
mix
I
in
will not
steam.
honor this agreement.
The
I will agree
baths
to the
tell
terms
their
in
own
front of the
story.
magistrates.
Men
You
move
cannot
through
deny it
warm,
now.
hot, and cold rooms under painted
O
ceilings and
Jupiter,
vaulted stone.
greatest and
Oil is
best,
scraped from skin.
accept this offering.
News is exchanged. Deals are hinted at. Bodies of every kind, labouring and elite, enter the same architectural machine, though not with equal dignity. Rome prides itself on civilization, and here civilization is felt in heated
Here is the
floors,
stew.
running
That will be
water,
3
and
sesterces.
engineered
Thank you.
comfort.
The aroma is
Yet just
wonderful.
outside the polished rooms stand the workers who keep all of it moving, usually unnoticed. Inside the homes of the wealthy, another Pompeii appears.
The senator is
Step
asking
through a
about the
narrow
shipment.
entrance from the
Tell him
street,
it arrived
and the
safely.
noise falls
The
away.
usual cut has been set
Light
aside for us.
gathers in an atrium around an open roof. Rainwater falls into a basin below. Wall paintings open false windows into imagined landscapes, sacred scenes, myths, gardens, and impossible architecture. There are images of gods, lovers, masks, birds, fruit, and theatrical illusions. Some rooms are intimate, others made to impress guests with taste and status. Dining couches wait for evening banquets,
The
where
attendance
wine
has
will be
nearly
mixed,
doubled since the heating
poetry
system was
recited,
installed.
and social
We
rank
must present
carefully
the petition to the
staged.
magistrate while interest is
These
high.
houses
I will
preserve a
draft it now.
contradiction at the center of Roman life. They display refinement, education, mythological knowledge, and artistic pleasure. But behind that beauty is labor, dependence, and inequality. Someone prepared the food, someone scrubbed the floors, someone lit the lamps, arranged the cushions, and remained invisible, while others reclined and discussed philosophy or profit. Pompeii is often remembered for its art, but the city's deeper truth is that elegance and exploitation lived side by side. And then there is the ordinary street. A mule turns past a fountain where residents fill jugs with water. A shopkeeper opens wooden shutters. Graffiti covers walls with jokes, boasts, insults, advertisements, declarations of love, and crude humor. This is one of the reasons Pompeii feels so modern. Its people do not survive only in statues or official inscriptions. They survive in scratches and stains, in election ads, in menu traces, in bread loaves carbonized
Then
in
he
ovens,
realized it wasn't
in
the
dice,
senator's wife at
tools,
all. It was
rings,
a goat.
keys, and cups
Oh, by
left
Jove.
behind midlife. The
The
city was
terms are
not built to
acceptable,
become a
informed
memorial.
the merchant.
That is why
I
its
shall do
remains
so,
feel so
Dominus.
intimate. Sometime in late August,
And this
or perhaps
great
more likely in
beast,
autumn,
half man
according
and
to
half
some modern
bull,
interpretations
demanded
of the
tribute.
evidence, the day
Then
changes.
Theseus stepped forward.
The exact date is still debated. Ancient manuscripts of Pliny the Younger, whose letters provide the clearest literary account of the eruption, do not all agree. What is certain is the year, 79 AD. What is certain is the terror. Pliny was across the bay at Misenum, watching the event unfold.
Friends, Romans,
He described a
Pompeians,
cloud
the
rising
time
like a
has
pine
come to
tree,
elect leaders
towering
who
upward
understand the true
before
needs of the
branching
people.
out.
With your support,
His
we will
uncle,
prosper.
Pliny the Elder, naval
Move.
commander, scholar,
By
and
Hercules, get
author,
over the stones.
sailed toward the disaster, partly from scientific curiosity,
Welcome,
partly to
citizen.
rescue those in
We have the
danger.
finest olive oil and
He would
lamps in
not
Pompeii.
How
survive.
much for these lamps?
At
The
first,
price list is
in
somewhat
Pompeii, the eruption does not destroy everything at once. Ash begins to fall, then pumice. Roofs start to strain under accumulating weight. The sky darkens. People wrap cloth over their faces. Some flee immediately. Others hesitate, gather valuables, seek relatives, or wait for instructions that never come. In a world without modern volcanology, the mountain is not yet fully understood even as it opens. Hours pass. Streets become harder to navigate. Stones rain from the sky. Buildings begin to collapse. Fear shifts from confusion to panic. Some families barricade themselves indoors. Others move toward the gates. Some succeed in escaping the city. Many do not. Archaeology reveals fragments of final decisions. Bodies found in rooms, corridors, gardens, workshops, and streets. Jewelry clutched in hand. Coins gathered for flight. A dog chained and unable to run. Groups huddled together as if hoping that closeness itself could resist the dark. Then comes the deadliest force.
Look at
Pyroclastic
Vesuvius.
surges,
We have to leave
fast-moving
the city
clouds of
now.
superheated gas, ash, and volcanic debris sweep through the area. Herculaneum is struck with even greater thermal violence,
We must
but
find
Pompeii
shelter.
too is overtaken. What falling pumice began, the surges complete. Heat, toxic gases, impact, suffocation. The city is erased not in one theatrical explosion, but in phases of destruction that trap, bury, and silence almost everything. By the time Vesuvius is finished, Pompeii lies under meters of ash and debris. Streets vanish, roof lines disappear, markets, temples, homes, workshops, gardens and bodies are sealed into the ground. A living Roman city is removed from the visible world, and then, for centuries, it is forgotten. Not forgotten in the absolute sense. The region remembers loss, ruins, stories, buried stone. But Pompeii, as a complete urban world, disappears beneath fields and time. Later generations build above, pass by, and only partly understand what sleeps below. It is not until systematic excavations begin in the 18th century that Pompeii starts to return. Its return changes history. Because Pompeii was buried so suddenly, it preserved not only grand architecture, but the texture of daily life with astonishing detail. Archaeologists found homes with paintings still on the walls, shops with goods in place, molds of victims formed in the cavities left by decomposed bodies, even food, tools, and graffiti. The city became one of the most important archaeological sites in the world, not because it tells us how emperors wanted Rome to look, but because it shows how ordinary Romans actually lived. That is why Pompeii still unsettles us. It is not merely a ruin. It is an interruption, a sentence cut off in the middle, a meal never finished, a door never reopened. In Pompeii, antiquity is not distant marble. It is breath caught in the throat. It is a city that looked permanent until the day permanence failed. Today, visitors walk its streets under open sky. They pass rutted stones worn by wheels, faded frescoes, bathhouses, temples, bakeries, brothels, courtyards, and gardens. Vesuvius still stands above them. The silence is different now, but the tension remains. The mountain that destroyed Pompeii also preserved it. The catastrophe that ended thousands of lives also carried their world forward through time. And so, Pompeii survives in a paradox. It is one of the most famous tragedies of the ancient world, yet also one of its clearest windows. It reminds us that history is not only made of emperors, battles, and monuments. It is also made of shop signs, bread ovens, household shrines, repairs left unfinished, and people who woke that morning expecting an ordinary day. Beneath the ash, Rome did not vanish as an idea. It remained waiting in its streets, its walls, and its silence, until the modern world was ready to uncover it and see itself there.